Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to explore fascinating sources and pull out those insights that really make you think.
That's right.
Today we're looking at something, well, pretty unique. It's excerpts from Dr. Roy's upcoming book, The Divine Rhythm and Dance. Specifically, his metaphysical take on Acts.
Yeah, metaphysical and allegorical reading. So looking beyond the literal story for deeper symbols about our own inner life.
Exactly. We're focusing on just a few verses today, Acts chapter 1, verses 11 through 14. And our mission really is to unpack Dr. Roy's interpretation. It's quite transformative, moving past traditional views to find insights about, inner awareness, spiritual awakening.
It really offers a fresh lens, maybe even a shortcut to understanding some complex spiritual ideas. Makes them feel relevant, surprisingly so.
Okay, so let's dive right in. Acts 1:1 on. We have these messengers talking to the disciples.
Right.
And they ask this really striking question. You consecrated men of Galilee, why do you continue looking into the sky? It lands like a real challenge.
Oh, it absolutely is. Dr. Roy calls it a spiritual confrontation of old awareness, straight away.
Okay.
These messengers, they're basically interrupting this pattern of gazing outward, looking up, waiting.
Waiting for what, exactly?
Waiting for external deliverance, some future event, something outside of them. But the message is stark. Stop looking beyond. Begin looking within.
Looking within. That's powerful. And the phrase men of Galilee, obviously a place, but Dr. Roy finds more there.
He does. He points to the Hebrew root of Galilee, meaning circle or circuit. Metaphysically, he says, this represents the circular reasoning of religious thought. Always going around the truth, never quite entering it.
Right, like being stuck in a loop.
Exactly. So the messengers are calling them out of this dependency, this cycle, and urging them towards spiritual maturity. Break the loop.
Okay. So if they're not meant to look at the sky, what about heaven? How does Dr. Roy interpret that here?
Well, crucially, he says the heaven they're gazing into is not the true realm of divine mind, that inner source, the universal intelligence.
Instead, it's the illusion of an external place where people believe God resides. It's projection.
I see.
So the messenger's question becomes even sharper. Why are you still seeking what has already been given? Why look for the sun out there when the true appearing must happen within you? It's a direct prompt.
That really reframes things. Then there's the phrase, this same spirit, Jesus. How does Dr. Roy unpack that?
He says this refers to the Logos life. That's the divine awareness, the consciousness Jesus lived from and revealed.
Okay, the Logos life.
And the key insight is, this same life is in every person. It's not about waiting for a different person to show up. It is that divine life ready to rise within anyone who awakens to it.
So it's already present.
Already present. It's about recognizing the Christ consciousness, that divine potential right here, right now, in everyone.
So if it's not an external return, that phrase, shall come in like manner, that sounds very physical. How does Dr. Roy approach that?
Yeah, traditionally read very literally.
Yeah.
But he offers a spiritual angle.
It does not mean a physical return from the sky. He suggests it means, in the same spiritual way, he lowered his visibility, meaning his physical form became less the focus as his inner reality shone. He can again become visible again if the need requires.
Interesting. So a change in visibility, not location.
Exactly. As Jesus ascended into spiritual awareness away from just outer sight, so too shall spirit be revealed in each person as they ascend in understanding and realize their oneness with Father. It's an inner ascent revealing the spirit.
Wow. Okay, so summing up verse 11, the big takeaway from Dr. Roy is this second appearing isn't Jesus coming back to earth.
No.
It's a revealing within the earth of our own being.
Precisely. The Jesus people wait for is actually the divine life already planted in their sacred self. That's our inherent, authentic connection to the divine.
Our sacred self.
Yes. And it gets unveiled as we lift our awareness. It's not coming down, it's rising up from within. Which means, for you listening, this potential for awakening is right there now.
That's incredibly empowering. Okay, let's move to the next verses, 12 through 14. The disciples return to Jerusalem. Dr. Roy sees this not just as travel, but...
And an inward journey, yes. The inward journey back to conscious peace and spiritual centering.
And Jerusalem itself, what does that symbolize?
Not the city, but the inner state. The dwelling of peace, the foundation of wholeness. It's that sacred center within, the place where divine presence is fully known, finding that inner sanctuary.
Okay, makes sense. And they come from the Mount of Olives. What's the significance of that place?
Allegorically, the Mount of Olives is the place of pressing or pressure.
Pressure.
Yeah, representing the outer world where spiritual truth gets challenged, squeezed by external demands, appearances.
Uh,
So leaving that mountain symbolizes a conscious shift, moving away from that outer pressure and noise into the stillness of divine assurance, inner quiet.
a deliberate move inward. The text also mentions a Sabbath day's journey. How does that fit in?
Dr. Roy sees that as a symbol for a short but sacred space of rest and inner transition. A pause, setting aside time specifically for that inner shift.
Got it. And then they gather in the upper room. If Jerusalem's the inner center, what's the upper room?
It's about entering a higher state of consciousness. Not just a room upstairs, but a mental and spiritual space.
Higher consciousness.
Yes, where thoughts are gathered, quieted, and made ready to receive the breath of spirit. He calls it the sacred chamber of the divine mind, that inner universal intelligence where communion with Ruach, the divine breath, can happen. It's about becoming receptive.
And this state of readiness, this upper room experience, connects to something later in Acts, the flames.
Exactly. Acts 2.3, the flames of fire. Dr. Roy clarifies this wasn't literal fire, but a symbolic unveiling of divine communication within their divine awareness coming from their divine mind.
So internal communication.
Yes, an experiential understanding, finally allowing them to perceive and integrate the truths Jesus spoke, a recognition of their own inner divinity lighting up, so to speak.
Okay. And the text lists the disciples who are there. Dr. Roy finds symbolism even in the list of names.
He does. He suggests that all together symbolize the integration of the divine faculties coming into agreement. All parts of the inner self getting ready for that full inflow of spiritual awareness.
Integration. And the phrase with one accord, is that just agreement?
It's deeper than just agreeing. It means unified intention and vibrational harmony. They became inwardly aligned.
Vibrational harmony.
Okay. They weren't waiting for something external anymore. They were aligning themselves, their inner faculties, with what was already within them, getting on the same page internally.
That's fascinating. And Mary, the mother of Jesus, is mentioned specifically. What role does she play allegorically?
Mary represents the divine feminine principle. That's the receptive consciousness that conceives and brings forth spiritual truth.
Receptive consciousness.
Yes, she's the mother awareness of Jesus, symbolizing the field of awareness from which the Logos life was birthed. It highlights how essential receptivity is for spiritual growth.
And Dr. Roy also highlights the importance of the other women mentioned. Their names were sometimes omitted, sadly.
Yes, he makes a strong point here. Their inclusion affirms that divine awareness is not limited to masculine expression. They represent qualities like nurturing, intuition, compassion, and creative power.
So wholeness.
Exactly, embodying the wholeness of the sacred self. And he notes these weren't just anonymous women. They included figures like Mary Magdalene, Salome, Joanna, Susanna. Their presence signifies the full spectrum of awakened consciousness.
Right. And finally, the text mentions his brothers. Who do they symbolize?
These, Dr. Roy says, are the aspects of our awareness that once doubted or remained separated in belief, maybe parts of ourselves that resisted.
The skeptical parts.
Kinda, yeah. But now they're returning to the inner sanctuary, ready to be transformed and made new. It speaks to integrating all parts of the self, even the resistant ones, into wholeness.
So pulling verses 12 to 14 together, Dr. Roy sees this whole passage as revealing a sacred pattern of preparation for transformation.
That's it precisely.
It shows the return inward, the gathering of our divine faculties, achieving harmony between masculine and feminine aspects within.
The whole sacred self coming into alignment, getting ready for that breath of spirit, that ruach, to bring full remembrance of our oneness with the divine, with Father. It's an internal roadmap.
A powerful internal roadmap indeed. So here's a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe ponder. If this journey in Acts is really about inner transformation, what does it mean for you to stop looking outward? How might you prepare your own inner upper room for a deep dive into your sacred self? And how could actively seeking that divine life already planted within change how you think about spiritual revelation, about your own growth?